What we call today the Baruch Institute of Coastal Ecology and Forest Science started in 1968 as the Baruch Institute of Forestry and Marine Sciences. And it was set up between Clemson and the Baruch Foundation, which itself was set up after Bell Baruch passed away in 1964. The original document that established the relationship was signed on November 14th of 1968.
We formed what was called a tripartite agreement between the Baruch Foundation, the University of South Carolina, and Clemson University, and each one had a very specific role. It was a very nice arrangement. The Baruch Foundation was responsible for the property. University of South Carolina has a Marine Institute, and then Clemson University was responsible for the upland work, forestry, wildlife, and forest ecology work.
The institute was directed through Clemson, from Clemson for a few years, and then they began hiring full-time resident faculty in 1973. There are very few research stations that have full-time year-round faculty that are devoted to ecology and natural resource management. Clemson has invested in 10 full-time, 12-month scientists.
For me, one of the things that was so attractive was the unique combination of resources, both in terms of people and infrastructure, meaning the labs and the office building, and the place, the geographic place. We're really at the front lines of change here, and so there's a ton of really good, important science that we can do right on the property, right here, and then obviously in the larger region.
We do a lot of research here at Hobcaw Baroney, but a lot of our research is done specifically on private landowners' property, and we're looking at information on how to work with private landowners to work further out from there. We do hold workshops here, but we also work with the public and do trainings throughout the state.
Having a full-time year-round faculty here is a pretty unusual thing. That allows us to do a lot of long-term research that we wouldn't be able to do without full-time faculty here, and it allows us to support a lot of students.
The opportunity for students here has really changed dramatically since I first came. In 1990, when I first came, we were all in the one small building behind us, and it was just enough room for the faculty and the technicians that we had, and really no place for students.
Beginning in 1980, I went to Baruch and started work for 8 months in the field. At that time, the facilities were not near the same as they are today. There was no big research building out close to the highway. We all worked in the Hobcaw House. My office was in the dingy basement of Hobcaw House, and the laboratory facilities were in one of the outbuildings right around the house. It's
changed drastically since 1990. Technology has really opened up the opportunity for us to have a smart classroom. Now we have our cottage, so we can house students here for short-term stays.
We went from working in the old mansion years ago when I first went down there to having a very small building of our own, to having a very nice building of our own. So we've grown along with that, and I think along being on that piece of property that we knew was going to be there to use without great changes for a long period of time, it allowed us to ground our work and really establish a base of operations for the whole coastal plain.
I think the students who are going to go there now and into the future are very fortunate. The resources and facilities that we have there are now absolutely top-notch.
Another opportunity that we have both for research and students is in the last few years the Institute's been able to forge new partnerships. A long-term partnership with the Yawkey Foundation has become a little more formal.
Baruch Institute is a great partner for this type of research, especially with things like sea level rise, climate change, urban sprawl, affecting all of our coastal properties. We feel like it's a great opportunity to partner with an institution that has fantastic staff locally to look at a lot of these problems as we move forward.
In addition to that is with the Nemours Foundation down in the Ace Basin, south of Charleston.
I told Skip that I needed telemetry experience. He made a few phone calls, and through that I actually got to stay at Nemours Wildlife Foundation. I gained a whole nother understanding of our natural ecosystem, especially the coastal species and the research that goes on there. My experience at Baruch has fostered this connection with Nemours Wildlife Foundation. After I graduated, I was looking for work. I actually got hired on as an intern immediately after graduation, and it just led me to start asking questions of my own. And Nemours actually funds my graduate studies. I have Baruch to thank for all of that.
Both the Yawkey Foundation partnership and the partnership with the Nemours Foundation allows us to support more students as well. We also introduced the James C. Kennedy Waterfowl and Wetlands Conservation Center. Mr. Kennedy endowed a research program for us so that we could address particular questions that we have in waterfowl management here in the Low Country. So that's been an example of a private gift that's had a large effect. It's allowed us to build that partnership with the Nemours Foundation. It's provided funding for graduate research and also undergraduate internships and undergraduate research. We count on that kind of support to keep undergraduate programs and to keep, new infrastructure moving. With continued support, we'd like to be able to grow and expand the undergraduate research program, and we'd like to be able to expand the infrastructure so that we've got the facilities that we need to expand the research program into new areas that are important here in the Low Country.
I know that Baruch is capable of growth inside. They've grown even just between the 2 years that I was there. If given the proper funding and opportunity, it'll be unmatched with what they can actually do.